Nice. Hey, it's Rachel. It's Rachel Kohler Dog Training, and I am here with Susan with Pack Leader Dog Training.
Hey guys.
We are here for our weekly Q&A. Today we've got Q&A number 26 going.
Yeah.
I know I say this every week, but every week it is exciting to me, so I'm going to continue. 26, Susan. We've done this 26 times.
I know, I can't even.
Like,
it's nuts.
It really is. It really is. And we've only missed like 1 week before, I think. So
yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
We need to look back and see the date that we started.
Yeah.
Like the actual date that
we should. It was back when we were both in Rhode Island, so it had to have been like August? Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane. Oh my goodness. You know what? I think it had to have been close to the 25th or 26th, I think, because I think it was my first day with Gaia. Because I remember I'm like, this dog is snoring so loud. You're gonna be able to hear her in the video. Because I had just moved to the new room. Oh my goodness. Good times.
Well, do you want to jump on in? I have a question for you.
I'm ready if you're ready.
Okay. My 9-month-old dog will take things she shouldn't have and hide behind the couch. If you try to take them, she'll growl sometimes. How do I get her to stop taking things?
So 9 months old, takes things, hides with them, and then growls when you try to take them from her. So there's a few different approaches I could take for this. My first one is if she's taking things that she shouldn't be taking, then she's not making appropriate decisions. So why is she get all this freedom when she's not making good decisions with it, right? So my thing then would be limiting her free time. You don't get to just wander around the house and do whatever you want to do because you haven't earned that. At 9 months old, it's kind of borderline, but you want to be supervising, create time, and then actively playing with or working with your dog. But to make it a little more simple, teach her a solid out command. So I don't know. I don't want to I've changed a lot on this because I can read dog body language a lot better, but I'm always hesitant to take something from a dog because that's a fun way to be bit. Just kidding, it's not fun. So instead of putting her in that situation where she's gonna corner herself and you have to try and take it from her, that's really confrontational. You could teach her a really good out command. In addition to that, if you want to take it a step above that, a recall. So don't hide behind this couch. I'm gonna recall you to me, and I'm gonna tell you out. So I think that's going to be like a safer way to get your dog out of that space and then to have them drop that, whatever it is that they've stolen.
Right.
And then just to throw this out there because I'm a dog trainer, by training your dog in other aspects, it's going to create a ripple effect. And the dog is going to realize that I don't get to just pick anything and everything up off the ground. Like, there are rules. And I should look to my owner for guidance, and I don't touch things that don't belong to me. And fun stuff like that. What do you think?
Yeah, this is actually one of the clients that I'm working with right now. So fortunately, they are training up their dog with all the basic commands. They are going to block off the couch because they have the couch pushed up as far against the wall as they can, and the space is like this big.
Oh, it's one of those
So they're going to block that off just to set everybody up for success. In the meantime, because we're still working on the training, but I did say to supervise her. She's like a toddler, so whether it be a puppy or an adult dog, until they're trained, they're toddlers. You should have your eyes on them at all times. Why? Because when they're left to their own devices and they're untrained, they're going to make bad decisions. And so I'm going to be proactive rather than have to be reactive. So I did recommend she's on a leash and collar while they're home with her, and that she's under supervision until we can train her a good out. And we're going to give no value, because if you grab something you shouldn't have, that's no and punish. Now I'm going to recall you to me to get you out of the couch or whatever. But out is going to be your best friend, because that means to drop what you have, disengage from something, and then recall so I can get you out from behind the couch.
I like that. I don't know why I didn't even think of just the correcting and picking it up, because a little special spotted puppy that I'm working with right now, she puts everything in her mouth. When we're outside, mulch, leaves, everything in her mouth. And we're working on correcting that, because you can't just put everything in your mouth. And that's what we're doing with her. So That's great.
Good. It
Good
is
to
great.
hear that these people are training up with you because that's just gonna like help their dog be more successful.
Yeah,
All right. I have a question for you if you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. So when I'm working on training with my dog, she hates dragging the long line, but sometimes I still need it. What should I do? So the dog hates dragging the long line, but they're not ready to lose the leash yet. What can they do?
I don't know what you mean by hate dragging the long line. I would like to know the reaction that the dog is having, because my first gut reaction is sucks to be you for right now until you have off-leash privileges.
Mhm.
But if you have a dog that like maybe is nervous around the long line,
Mhm.
you could try to counter condition it if you really wanted to.
Mhm.
So here's the leash, click and reward. Here's the leash, click and reward. I'm clipping it on you, click and reward.
Mhm.
You're sitting there with it on you, click and reward. So you can counter condition the leash if you really want to, or you can just kind of have the dog deal with it until
Mhm.
you don't need the long line. But
Yeah,
you're going to need the long line at some point in time because I don't
that's
have
always
my
there.
dog leashless all the time,
Mhm.
because you can't. There's leash laws. So I would probably counter condition it honestly.
Right.
You really wanted, if you care. If you care. If you don't care, if
Right.
your dog's just like, you can just tell your dog doesn't like it, but it doesn't really hurt any of your commands. Well,
Mhm.
dog will probably get over it, but you could counter condition it.
Yeah, so what this dog does is long line on, its head down, and instead of like walking like at a normal pace, it's just very slowly making the way to like follow through with recall and things like that.
I think it'd be fun to counter condition that then. So like you
Yeah.
pattern a head up behavior. So like
Mhm.
I'm gonna click the leash on you and then click and reward. And the reward always comes up from up high. And so it's like you can get the head positioning up. And
Mhm.
then like I would probably click and reward for your head being like for you being, I don't know, like confident. You know what I mean? So you
Right.
can you can click and reward the body motion of the head being up as well. And then now the long line becomes something awesome rather than like, ugh, we're training.
Right.
What do you
I
think?
like that. So I like that too. It made me think. So I say a long time ago. Well, it was probably 2 years ago. I worked with this like really small dog. And she just like couldn't drag a long line because it would literally get stuck on a patch of grass and she would feel that pressure and stop. And it's like, well, I don't weigh you because I don't blame you because you're like 3 pounds.
Yeah.
Um, so with her, what I did was I used a paracord. So it's like a little tiny thin string and attached that to a leash clip and use that for my long line.
Nice.
Which is really cool because I forgot about this until we were talking with the trainer that we know, and she had mentioned using the paracord for a long line. Or I think that's what she said she used.
Yes.
Either way, it made me think of that. And if it's the weight of it that's bothering the dog, a paracord is nice. And then you can make it however long you want. Just watch out
Nice.
for that rope burn.
Yeah. I like it.
um,
That's a good
I'm
idea.
actually gonna ask you another question, if you don't
Oh,
mind.
okay.
I know I'm gonna go out of order. I got a text about a question. It's the comments not going through, so we'll go ahead and talk about how to have an overexcited puppy meet kids. So ways to set up the puppy and the kids for success.
Kids in the house or random kids?
Like friends around in the neighborhood and things like that.
My gut reaction, my first thing I was gonna say, don't.
Mhm.
Um, okay, if I had an excited puppy and I just want them
So
to
it's
meet,
it's the neighbor. Good friends with the neighbor. See them all the time. They've got
how
young
old's the
kids.
puppy?
12 weeks, maybe?
Okay.
Question mark?
Um, so the thing with puppies is when they see somebody new, especially if it's like kids, they're gonna get like super excited, right? And I don't want to set this puppy up for bad behavior. So if you have excitable puppy and really excitable kids, then the puppy's gonna jump up on the kids
Mhm.
when they interact. So honestly, I'd be like, hey, kid's name, Timmy. Hey, Timmy, I know you're really excited to see this puppy. I know you're really excited, right? So you can do this one of two ways. At least I'm just making stuff up. So this is what I would do. you could be like, hey, Timmy, I know you really want to see this puppy, but when you first see it, can you just like stand there and let it smell you and like be happy, wiggle butt? And then once the puppy calms down, I'll let you pet him. But if you do that for me, then you can pet him and play with him and all that fun stuff. So you could do that. You could wait until the puppy kind of calms down, and then the kid can pet the puppy. But if you let the kid pet the puppy right when they meet each other, it's just going to make the puppy jump and yeah, or pee. Sometimes they'll excited pee. So best just to let the calmness like settle.
Right.
Alternatively, you could, I don't know if I would, but hey kid, if you want to play with the puppy, you need to be sitting on the floor. So if we're sitting on the floor, puppy can play on you and that kind of stuff. But if you're standing up, you can't, like, don't bend down and play with the puppy. You could do it that way. So that way the dog doesn't jump up on you, but the signal for the dog is if you're sitting on the floor, you're allowed to come up and like play and like jump on my lap or whatever.
I like that.
What do you think?
Yeah, so my go-to is like, so talk to the kids first, right? So I'm always like, I always ask people when they're telling me about kids, and I'm like, go to tell the kid to do something, right? And then I'm like, well, how old is the kid? And then I remember, like, if you tell me how old the kid is, that doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know if they'll like understand things at certain ages or not. Um, but I'm like, so explain to the kid that you need their help training the dog. I don't know. I always like make it fun for the kids so they like want to listen. Or like, look, I need your help training this puppy. I need you to be calm or like play statue or do whatever. And pretty much like what you said, make it really calm. Now, I did add one thing that if puppy does jump up, to correct with just a leash prop down or compressed air, because knowing this puppy, naturally they probably are going to jump up because that's what they've done several times in the past. Um, so explain to the kids, hey, ignore her until I tell you you can calmly pet her. So approach them. If she jumps, correct it. And then when she's calm, then they can calmly pet her. But as you were talking, I had another idea. Okay, imagine this. Okay, so the kids are outside and you've got puppy on a leash and you walk up to him, puppy can't reach them. So before she even can, and this might have been what you were talking about, I don't know, but puppy can't even reach them. So she's here, she's excited, she's wiggling, she's trying to get to them. Once she's decided that the kids aren't interesting anymore, once she's lost interest in them, then they can like approach and pet her. If she gets excited again, you could do two options. The kids could step back until she's calm, or you could correct for the jumping. But that way it's like, okay, cool, you're here. You're not exciting. I'm gonna go to like sniffing the ground and do whatever I'm doing. And then the next thing she knows, oh look, kids are here and petting me.
Right.
Mm.
Now that we talked it out, honestly, I'm like, why would I treat this kid any differently than an adult? Assuming the kid's not like 3.
Mhm.
I would talk to the kid and say, hey, it's cute when a puppy jumps on you when they're small, but not so much when they're a big
The kids don't think it's
dog.
cute. Kids hate it.
Oh, okay, cool. So what I want you to do, little Timmy, is just walk up to the puppy. If the puppy jumps, I'm gonna say no and compressed air it.
Mhm.
And then do that until the puppy's like, this isn't cool. And then the puppy will just be around your legs and you can pet it. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I would do with an adult.
Right.
Just correct the jumping.
I like it. So that's what we would do for that. Yeah.
Sorry, I
You're
forgot it
good.
was my turn.
I know.
Okay.
Your turn, Susan. Hey, what did we say back in the day? Scooch on over to the next
Scooch.
question.
Yeah. All right. I'm struggling teaching my dog heel outside. Inside, she does really well, but outside, she keeps pulling ahead. What should I do? I will tell you that this person is on the NCS level or stage of e-collar training.
All right, so inside NCS, dog's doing great. NCS just means non-compliant stim. It's an e-collar level, which means I'm going to give you the command. When you move out of the command, I'm going to hold down at your working level until you're into the command, and I'm going to let go. For anybody watching. Inside good, outside rough. So couple things we can do here. First thought is if you're going from inside to no distractions to trying to go out for like a walk in the neighborhood, that might be a big jump. So I'm all for taking those baby steps. So don't know if this is an option, but if you have a backyard, I'd do it there. then a front yard, then in the driveway, and like build up your walk. Um, but if that's not the case, if it is just outside in general, no matter where it is, hold your dog.
They moved into the driveway and like the little part of the sidewalk that's in front of the house. In the driveway, she's good.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the sidewalk, she forges.
That was funny. So assuming that holding her highly accountable with NCS she's not caring about, my go-to a lot is, okay, so I'm gonna say 180s and walking like a crazy person because I don't have a better name for it yet. So a 180 would be you're walking with your dog's in the heel next to you, she starts foraging and pulling it forward and sniffing, right? You do a 180, turn in the opposite direction, give a little bit of a leash pop and that NCS stem if you want to do the stem too. I don't know what if I would do an NCS. I'd probably do both. Or actually, it'd probably just be the pop because you're not going to have the stem on long enough. So do a 180, give a little leash pop. Now we're walking this way. Should have been paying attention to me, not sniffing the ground. And now the dog's going to be back in the heel. So you do that a couple times. The dog's going to be paying more attention to you to make sure they can catch you when you turn and less attention to sniffing and getting into whatever they're getting into. My other thing, in addition to that, is I say walking like a crazy person. Because it's a less severe for 180s. So you do a couple 180s, cool. You've got your dog's attention. But to hold your dog's attention throughout the walk, I like to be really random. So say I'm walking at a normal pace. Well, now I'm going to like suddenly slow down. If you get ahead of me, no, NCS, get you back in position. Now I'm going to speed up. Now I'm going to take a sharp right turn or a sharp left turn. Just mixing it up really random instead of just like trudging along in a straight line. Because then your dogs, when I tell kids this, I'm like, your dog's going to think you're a crazy person and they're going to need to really pay attention to where you're walking. And that's going to be how you can become more relevant.
It's super cute. I love that you tell kids that.
Right? Like you want your dog to think you're crazy and that you're walking around like a crazy person. What do you think for outside NCS foraging?
I do like the 180s. I did suggest that. Spatial pressure, if you can get it right. So spatial pressure is, so let's say, there we go. Let's say you're walking with your dog and your dog should be like behind you. Wait, is that right?
Yeah.
It's weird. Okay. Anyway, so you're walking. If your dog gets up to your leg, you turn towards them and you walk into them until they turn around and face the other way. When they turn around and face the other way, now you're going to go back the way you originally were going. Because what you're telling the dog is, get out of my space. Now that you're out of my space, I'm going to keep walking the way I wanted to walk. I will let you know that spatial pressure is crazy awkward to start, and even when you've been doing it for months. So there's just an art to it, but that's an option. So if you think spatial pressure would work for you, you can do that. The 180s, I like how you said walking like a crazy person. But you really just need to, it's not even about the NCS at this point in time because the dog is so aroused, they don't even feel it. So I want you to be paying more attention to me than anything else that's going on. So that's what those techniques do. It's just making you more relevant.
I like that.
I also like coming to random stops, but that's part of walking like a crazy person.
Yes. I like randomly stop and the dog's like, crap. Yeah. And then they got to stop with you really quick. There's something you said that I want to comment on and I forget. Oh yeah. With spatial pressure, we're laughing because it's special. Like when you got it and when it works for the dog, it's like a great tool to have. But some dogs, it takes a little bit more to teach them. But one thing to remember when you're spatial pressuring a dog is you want to go head on. And for me, like I imagine myself like a wall. Like you can't get past this imaginary line. So keep pushing. Because a lot of times people like spatial pressure their dog and then you're just going in circles with the dog instead of like, it's like backwards, like get out of my space. And now let's keep walking.
Right.
But a tip from somebody who's not very good at them. Oh, goodness. Let's see. My next question for you. So my 3-month-old puppy is so food motivated that it's hard to train him. He is so focused on the food. Um, I will be transitioning him to prong and e-collar. Prong and e-collar.
The Rachel Kohler.
I know the prong and e-collar. Okay. Transitioning him to prong and e-collar when he gets old enough and advances a little bit more. But what can I do in the meantime?
How old did you say? 10 weeks?
3 months.
Oh, 3 months. Okay, so 12 weeks.
I think it's actually closer to 4, though. I lied.
Okay, so super food motivated makes it hard to train. So just focused on the food. Okay.
Intensely.
So do you mean like, so you're doing food luring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And food luring should be really super easy for you. But now you're trying to get away from food luring? And he's too food motivated?
Yeah, so like constantly looking at a hand, like constantly. So like when he's looking at you, it's only at your hand or at a treat pouch. So if you're not actively food luring him, it's like, let me get your hand, not to like bite or do anything ugly, but just, is there food in there? Is there food in there? Is there food in there?
Okay, so the one thing I do is I make sure anyway, you can make sure your treat pouch is to the back of you.
Mm-hmm.
That prevents them from being like, oh, looking at whatever. So that's one thing. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
On this one, because I would have to see the dog and be like, what would I do if you're too food motivated?
I know. As I'm saying it, I'm like, this wasn't really well like explained question.
So if he's
like, I guess there's never a second, like, normally when you're working a dog, it's like, okay, we're going to work on this. All right, bye. And then we're going to work on this. But this dog, it's like food, like the whole time. So like, I don't know how to explain it.
What did you do for it? Oh, okay.
No, I think no. So what I'm okay. So I don't know if I'm not supposed to like say clients' names when I'm talking about dogs on here. But I think it's fine, right? Okay. So this is about Tank. I made up this question because I thought it would be a fun thing to chat about because he is the most food motivated dog I have ever met. So usually, and I think what I'm going to start doing, or what I am doing, is he's graduated puppy program. So he's moved on to hands-off training. So I'm going to just be standing up all the time now. And we're phasing in leash pressure and all that stuff because he's now 6, I don't know. He's old enough now. So I will start standing up now and phasing in all the other things. But when he was in puppy program, we're usually sitting on the ground doing puppy stuff. And no matter where your hands go, that's what his focus is on. And like, yeah, my hands are me, but it's like constantly, he acts like he's like a starved puppy. And I can assure y'all he's not. Oh.
So I guess I would pause. Like so once we've moved past food luring, because honestly, for the food luring part, I probably wouldn't care.
Right.
If I'm food luring you and you follow my hands, that's kind of the point. After that, I would assume your hands would start losing value when you start to go from like, my hand is empty but smells like food. You lower down, good. Now I'm reaching and the food's coming to you from an outside source. Did you see your hand lose, or have you moved away from food luring?
Yeah, so I started to do that with him because it's funny because that kind of is what I did. That kind of is what I did with him. So I had him in a down, and I did have my treat pouch behind me. And I think what I was doing, and now this was a few weeks ago, because this is an old question, just for something for fun for us to talk about. I would like go to reach toward my pouch, and if he got out of his down, you don't get the treat anymore. So I stopped reaching for it. And then I would like lure him back into a down. Okay, cool. Going to reach for my pouch. You break. Nope. Stop reaching for it. And I think because what was I? What is that? What is that? What is that? Negative punishment. I'm taking away your treat as a punishment. So eventually, I was able to reach back to my thing. So I wrote this question before I got to that point with him.
Yeah, I think it'd be like a waiting game. Honestly, it's like exactly what you did. Like you moved from food in your hand, food luring, to now your hand's empty. And then we go to leash pressure, and then we name it. So once you introduce leash pressure, I think you would see it like totally. He would start looking to you rather than like to your hands. So interesting though.
Cool.
It makes sense now.
Yeah, gonna learn a lot from him. He's gonna be a fun guy.
All right, so
what
I
you
have
got
a fun
for me?
I have a fun question for you.
Okay.
What do you think about training dogs' commands in another language?
I think that you should no, let me stop. I was gonna be sarcastic. So this is a fun question. So I think that there are pros to it. Like if you've got multiple dogs, if you happen to be a dog trainer, and you train your own personal dog in another language, your dog's gonna have no confusion when you're talking to client dogs, and client dogs are gonna have no confusion when you're talking to your dogs. No, let me be serious. Okay, so when I'm talking to my clients about commands, a question I actually have been getting really recently okay, let me start over. A question I have been getting a lot recently is I just don't know the right word to say to my dog. I guess that's not a question, but when they're asking me about like their dog healing, well, I just don't know the right word to say to them. There's no magic word. It's not like a magic word that you say to your dog to help them heal. So I can train my commands to be ketchup, mustard, pickles, whatever, right? I can train sit to be ketchup. All I'm doing is marking a word, which is just sound to your dog. I'm marking this sound wave to this action. So you can call the commands whatever you want. So doing them in another language is cool.
It is cool. I like with Sadie, she had known I taught her sit in English and Spanish just because it's cool. So siéntate, she'll sit, she'll still sit. I think that's the only Spanish one I did because I asked I was working at Walmart at the time and there was a Spanish speaking woman and I was asking her like, hey, how do I tell my dog to sit and like what all that fun stuff. So it's just something fun to do.
Right.
Rachel said you can use any word that you want. So when this really helps is like my dog Little. I just want to retrain her because she's my dog and I didn't follow through as well as I should have with my own dog. So when I get client dogs in and they do board and trains and stuff, I'm like, wow, the board and train. So let's say Bindi, because she's my board and train. I'm like, wow, Bindi is so on point. And here I am telling my dogs, down, down. But do I have an e-collar on them? No. So like how much of the commands lost their meaning and how much of the marker words lost their meaning. So
and be fair to yourself, by the way. You trained her a long time ago and you've grown a lot as a trainer since then. Just saying.
It's
just
true.
Remember that.
It's true. Very accurate. So yeah, I would like to retrain my dog Little, and so I'm doing so with German commands. All except recall, I think. Yeah, all of it except recall because I was watching this German video and like they were like, yeah, we just say their name plus here. And I was like, well, that's what I already do. And her recall is pretty on point. So I'm gonna keep Little here as her recall, but like everything else is gonna be in German.
That's funny because I was about to ask. So I don't know if this is a secret or not. But Little, I didn't know if like Little was your recall or if you said Riley.
No, it's Little.
Okay. I was like, I don't know if that's a secret or not. Because that would be really weird. Like if I was out with you and you're just like, Riley here, I'm really like, who's Riley?
I know. It's weird. Yeah, it's Little. So her like God-given name is Riley. So on all of her paperwork it says Riley. But her name's Little. Like, let's be real.
Honestly. Yeah. No. Because that was when we were talking about you retraining her. I was like, she's not Little anymore. She's Riley. But I'm like, no, Little's too cute. She's Little.
I thought about calling her Riley while I'm training her, like in my mind, but I'm like, that'll just confuse me.
Right. That's just Little. It's better.
So anybody watching, I am retraining my dog Little. So if you know any trainers, at least me, I'm a trainer. I tend to treat my personal dogs differently than my board and trains because A, they're my dogs. They should know better, right? No. B, you just don't follow through because, like, you follow through with everybody else's dogs. I guess you don't follow through with your own. I don't know. You give dogs structure all day, so when it comes to your dogs, you only give them structure. I don't know. I'm just speaking for myself.
Same.
Anyway, I was talking to Rachel, and I'm like, I'm going to retrain my dog, and I'm going to treat her like a board and train. So that's why I said maybe I'll call her Riley while I'm training her so that I don't feel any of that, like, emotion when I'm training her. But I'm like, no, I can't because, like, I just can't. So I'm going to call her Little. But her second nickname is Ditu. So I'm just not going to call her Ditu when I'm training her. It's Little. Your
Right.
name is.
Let's be serious.
Yes.
Right. I like that. I like that
Yeah.
plan. And then when she graduates from training, doo-doo, that'd be great. Oh my gosh. She's probably like, why are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Well, that was fun. So yes, how do I feel about training commands in another language? Go for it. Just don't forget the words. Make a little index card. Make a little note.
Right. I
Nice.
have them all written down because I won't. Okay, so the word place in German is Voraus. I know. So I'm gonna be like,
Rouse.
Little Voraus.
Rouse. I'm gonna interrupt you real quick because
Nice.
Miss Deborah just popped in.
Hey,
She said
Deborah.
just able to jump in. Hello. What treats do you recommend for training? Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, glad to have you here. Hope Hannah's doing splendidly. So, treats for training. Honestly, the treats that we use, I would use Pure Bites. They're good for clients because it's like a smaller amount. Like, you don't need a big old tub like we use. So, Pure Bites, they're just one ingredient, dehydrated. So, there's cheese, there's whitefish, there's duck, there's beef and chicken. But because I work with a lot of dogs and I never know who's going to have allergies, I stay away from the beef and chicken because dogs that have allergies are actually allergic to the protein, not the grain. So the protein. So you want a novel protein, just like, duck or whatever. So I would get Pure Bites and the whitefish or duck, or like Rachel grabbed, the treats that we use are the Stewart's Pro Treats. She uses the pork liver because her dog has an allergy. I use the beef liver. The bad thing about those, Rachel.
Oh yeah, let me. I just want to show y'all because I grab the wrong things. I usually have them sitting with me. Everyone always asks about the treats I use, and I always warn them you don't want to use these treats. You don't want to buy these treats because it's really annoying. Because they come in pieces this big. I'm not going to give a dog a treat this big for sitting. Congratulations, good sit. Here's your meal. Let's work again tomorrow. No. Okay, Susan's going to make fun of me. I cut them down to treats this size. Susan makes fun of me because they're really small. So it's like, big difference.
A crater versus a pea.
But like, I give a dog so many of these.
No, like in the beginning,
Yeah.
like we use so much food. Like they'll tell us. I just trained with somebody, and she's like, my dog's gonna get fat. And I said, well, that's why I usually like to use their daily kibble because we do hand out lots of food in the beginning, and then we slowly wean off.
Right.
So, but yeah, for treats, either of those are fine. And honestly, you can use whatever treat your dog likes, but I have not found a dog that does not like those liver treats.
Right. Usually the first time they're kind of like,
they smell it, yeah.
A little bit weird, like, because it's dehydrated, so it, like, I think sticks to their tongue a little bit until they're like, oh, I could just like chew it up and eat it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I cut them so tiny because seriously, like, I give dogs a lot of treats. That's why I've gone through like 100 of these buckets of treats in like 5 days. Slight exaggeration, not by a lot. But yeah, and I also think these are great because you know what it is. It's literally one ingredient. So rather than it being like a milk bone, which who knows what they are, Rather just being a really chemically, really processed treat, it's just dehydrated pork liver or beef liver or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helps because I haven't had luck, or that I've known of anyways, like a lot of dogs getting sick from this or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
But working for meals is even better because then you're even more relevant to your dog and
And
you can give them.
sorry, talk about Miss Bindi. So Bindi's my board and train. She came to me. Her owners wanted her on a feeding schedule. So when I got her, they would just put food in the bowl and she eats whenever. Um, she'd always been like a unfood motivated dog,
Mhm.
really, unless it was like a high value thing. She didn't really want to work for her kibble because she's like, it's out here in the open all the time. Why would I work for that?
Right.
So when she came to me, I was only offering her meals like morning. Oh, you're welcome, Deborah. I was only offering food morning and evening. And she was still like, no. I'm like, okay. But to work her in the beginning, she wouldn't take her food. So I gave her higher value reward, the liver, the beef liver.
Mhm.
And she ate it. And still, she went like 3 days and still would not eat. And I'm like, wow, you must be getting enough value in the little pork liver or beef liver that you don't want to eat, which is silly because I didn't think it would equal out to a meal, but she did.
Mhm.
So anyway, I had to stop giving her treats.
Mhm.
So I stopped giving her treats, and then I was like, "Here's your food," and then she was like, "Okay, thank you," and I'm like, "You're welcome." So now she's on twice a day
Yeah,
feeding.
you know.
But that was just funny because even the beef liver was such a good thing that she didn't want to eat her real food. Oh. So that's how much
And
we give dogs.
right, because it's like in the beginning, it's so much treats, and I'm horrible. I am like most trainers would like hate me actually for a lot of reasons. But I like to like still reward at the end of training. You know, like most people like get all the way off of food rewards, and that's great because you're gonna listen to me with or without the food. But if
Right.
you do something really great, I want to give you a treat.
Well,
Like
it's
I
like
want to
because
say
I
good
have it on
job.
me. Like the
Yeah,
pouch
like
is
good
on me.
job. Right.
You recall? Here you go.
Good job. Yeah, recall I reward a lot because I want recall to be great
Right.
because, mm. uh, but yeah, we give a lot of treats.
We do.
I'm gonna be interested to find out how many buckets of these treats I go through by the end of the year.
Just I'll be able to look at Chewy. Is that where you get them, Chewy?
Yeah, because I think I've already gone through like 8.
I've ordered 8. I've not gone through the 8, but I've
Yeah,
ordered the 8.
I think I've gone through 'em.
Okay. Pick a number, 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5.
4.
My 3-year-old dog gets distracted by noises outside and won't go potty. How can I get her to be less distracted?
So 3-year-old won't go potty outside because she's distracted by noise. Um, One thing you can do, I'm just imagining this dog's like in a yard. It's got free range of backyard and it's just like, oh, listening to things, walking around, doing whatever. Let's go ahead and go on leash. Let's make potty time and hanging outside time two very different things. So if we're going outside a potty, we're gonna just like a puppy, I guess you would do the same way. We're gonna put on your leash. We're gonna walk outside to this spot in the yard. We're gonna stand here until you go potty. I don't know, not stand here for a little bit, walk around. If you're distracted by noise over here, I'm gonna take a few steps this way. We're not focused on that. Stand there for how long do you think, Susan? Like 5 minutes? If you don't go potty, then we're
Yeah,
gonna go back inside.
yeah, I'll take the dog back inside in the kennel. Because it's like it's gonna be kennel outside, kennel outside, kennel outside until you go potty. Now when you go potty outside, I'll probably click and
Yeah,
reward or whatever and be like, awesome. And now we're not gonna stay outside and play, we're gonna go inside. And if you want to let the dog play, for a dog that's struggling with potty training or just potty training in general, I keep play and potty time separate.
hmm
Um until they're potty trained, and then it doesn't matter. But like that way it's like we go outside to go potty, now we're going to go inside, 5 minutes later now we can play outside for fun.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a question for you that just came through. We're having a little technical difficulties with getting these questions up on the screen.
Oh,
But Can you explain? Okay, I'm gonna ask the question first, and then I want to comment on it, and then you answer. Okay.
Okay.
Can you explain recall? And my comment on this is actually a really good question because as trainers, I think we use this term a lot, and I've had a lot of clients ask me this.
Hmm.
So I always try to remember to say what it is, rather than just saying recall.
Mhm.
But we're so used to, talking to trainers and talking with other trainers that we just like say it and it makes sense. And we
Right.
forget that, like,
Have a good recall. Well, what is recall?
right. So, Susan, what is recall?
So recall is like calling your dog to you. So for us, it's the here command. So how we train it is the dog's name plus here. That is recall. So it just means the command that we tell dogs to come to us with.
So, my little saying, because I've got a saying for all of my commands. Stop what you're doing, come to me, and plant yourself. So,
Mm-hmm.
don't care what it is that you're doing, but stop, come back to me, and then plant yourself by either sitting or lying down. Do you want to know why I have my dogs plant themselves when they get to me, Susan?
Yes, I do want to know why.
Okay, so imagine you're outside with your dog. Okay, let
Mm-hmm.
me tell you the backstory. That's really quick. I think this every time I go to explain why. I think it every time in my head, and then just recently I said it to a client, and it was really funny. So now I say it every time. Okay,
Okay.
you're out in the front yard with your dog. You're having a great time. There's suddenly a fire-breathing dragon across the street. Your dog's interested in it because it's a fire-breathing dragon, and your dog's like, "Hey, new friend," and you're like, "No." So you recall your dog. I don't want my dog to like run to me, be like, "Hey, mom," and then run back away because I'm trying to get your leash on you because we gotta go because there's a fire-breathing dragon right there. So I would be like, "Fido, here." Fido comes all the way here. He sits down or lays down in front of me. He's stationary. I hook his leash on him. I tell him break, and then we get the heck out of town.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Because I always imagine worst case scenario. I'm recalling you so I can get my hands on you, put a
Mm-hmm.
leash on you, and we can leave. The dragon's just for fun.
Just for funsies. Because who doesn't want to see a dragon?
I mean, come on. So yes, that's that. That's fun. I like
Okay.
my dragon.
Your
Oh, I
dragon's
got one
cool.
for you. I got one for
Again?
you.
Okay.
Are you shocked that I am prepared today?
Yes.
Because you should be, because I never am. These are left over. All right,
Anybody
Susan.
that didn't watch last week's Q&A should probably
It
hop
was
on
trash.
and watch it.
I told my client was telling me that they were watching my replays, which I thought was the greatest thing ever because it makes my heart happy to know people actually watch these. And she was like, "Yeah, I watched 24," and I'm like, "Don't waste your time watching 25. Just go back and watch 23." So basically, for anyone who doesn't know, like 25, just some dude was on here and he was just being annoying, and I kind of went off because that's what I do. I don't take crap from people.
It was pretty
Okay,
great. It's very
yeah,
professional.
it was a fun time. It was a fun time. Anyways, Susan, I got a dog training question for you. What do you
Yes.
want me to do? Dance around? Come on, I got a question. Okay. Okay, this question is, I have 2 cats and I just got a new 9-week-old puppy. Any advice on the cat dog situation?
Sorry, I'm trying to think because I was like, put the dog in a place and let the cat smell the dog.
Hold on, hold on. Hold on. Deborah says, "Oh, I definitely want to watch it now."
Deborah, we could have used you.
I know.
We had none of our regulars last week.
It
And
was
I'm
the
like,
first week too.
I was like, if our regulars were here, they would be telling this guy off.
I told them off for y'all. Don't worry.
Okay.
But that was the first week we had, like, it was just us chatting, and then this random dude hops on and he was like, "Could y'all dance and do toe touch jumps for me?" And I'm like,
No.
"No." So watch it. I hope you get a good laugh out of it because I had a good laugh out of it for a while. And I made it into a little clip, so maybe I should post that. I
Yeah.
don't actually think I want to. I don't know. Okay. Susan.
You did. I'm sorry. Okay.
Dog cat situation.
So puppy cats. Okay, so honestly, when I bring if I would ever, it's been forever, if I would ever bring a puppy into my home that's not going to be trained,
I'm gonna ask you
Sorry.
what's going on, and we're gonna have a talk first. That's gonna be step one. If you bring a
What?
puppy into your home that's
Oh,
not getting trained,
oh yeah.
you and I are having a talk.
Okay.
We're doing Q&A Tuesdays on this
Okay, I
show.
have to preface it. If you're gonna bring a puppy into your house and then you plan to like train it, then it's gonna be in the kennel for like 3 hours. It'll come out to train and work, back in the kennel. Come out to train and work, back in the kennel. And the cat will see that and be like, ew, there's a dog. And then after a while, because every time the dog comes out of the kennel, it's on a leash, the cat's gonna be like, you can't get to me. And then the cat's gonna start teasing the dog, and then it'll all work out. Now, if you don't plan to do that, if you're gonna have somebody else train your dog, or if you're like, I don't want it to be trained, then honestly, I would probably just have your dog on a leash. The puppy's gonna be running around like a fool. The cat's gonna see said puppy and probably be like, and like run off. With your dog on a leash, after a while, the cat's gonna be like, again, you can't get to me. And then the cat will slowly investigate, and all will be well. With a new puppy, I would not let them off leash because they're like a toddler. So if they're out of the kennel, they're on a leash so you can hold them accountable for things. As long as your puppy's on a leash, the cat's gonna get over it. So at first, the cat's probably gonna be like really butthurt. But with time, they'll start to investigate the situation. And then let's say you have your puppy on a leash and the cat comes over and the dog like launches itself like to attack or whatever. I would probably say no and bonk it. Because it's like
What's a bonk?
A bonker is just a rolled up towel. So you take a towel, you like fold it into third, and then you roll it up and put 2 rubber bands on it, and it's bonk. You could use any form of soft item, like a little throw pillow. Yeah, little throw.
Do you remember that pillow in Rhode Island that was shaped like a bonker? It was like a round cylinder type. I don't know. Like it was like a round pillow, and it was on that chair where we ate lunch.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Okay, well I bonked the dog at that one time, and the dude who worked there, not to name any names,
I almost said
he was like, "Did you just throw a pillow at that dog?" And I was like, "It looks like a bonker."
It's a bonker. Well, like
really
so for Logan, the German Shepherd that I did one-on-ones with, he was barking in his kennel, and she's like, the mom was like, "How do I get that to stop?" And I was like this, like looking around their house, and I'm like, "Here you go." I pick up this pillow, and I was like, "No," bam, and hit the kennel, and he was like, and he shut up. It was really great. So anyway, if the puppy's like acting silly or barking, like barking at the cat, I will correct the puppy because you need to be calm around the cat. And then once you get the dog to be calm around the cat will come out and all will be well. But key points, keep your dog on a leash, correct it for any barking or like launching itself at the cat. And then the cat will come out in time. I wouldn't like pick the cat up and be like, hey,
here, give me a puppy.
Yeah. It'll all work out. What are your tips?
No, put them in a room together and let them be friends. Just kidding. Don't do that. Advocate for both of them. So mainly the cat. Puppy's on a leash. You don't get the chaser. You don't. Okay, so I had this today. I said to the puppy, because I talk to my dogs because don't come at me. I was like, you don't get to approach her, or you don't get to approach the cat, but the cat gets to approach you. At the same time, said cat, when this puppy first got home, said cat would approach the puppy just to hiss at it. And like puppy's laying there and the cat comes up and like, what are you doing? And it was kind of funny because the puppy was like being chill at this point. But like if the cat was gonna like walk up and just swat the puppy for not doing anything, I'm not gonna let that happen because the puppy's minding its business. So you don't come up and be a jerk. You don't come up and bother the cat. We just coexist. But if anyone's approaching anybody, I'm gonna say the cat can approach the puppy. If you're gonna be nice about it.
Exactly.
But that's my main thing. And then I really like the fact that puppy doesn't get free range of the house. So if there's 2 levels, the cats, they get to go upstairs and get away from you. And we're hanging out downstairs. I've got your leash. You're not going anywhere. And the cats can like jump up on things to get away. So we just want to make sure that we're not letting it be like a free for all and the puppy chasing the cats everywhere. Because then if the cat scratched the puppy, then that's a y'all bad. Y'all's
Mm-hmm.
bad. But to switch it for you, Susan, what
Yeah.
if instead of having some cats and then getting a puppy, what if somebody already has a puppy or already has a dog and then they want to get a cat? I know, like the easy answer.
They want to get a cat, then yeah,
I know. I was like, once I said that.
then I would train your dog place. Bare minimum. That's all you gotta do, right? Train your dog place. No. Train your dog place, and then when you bring the cat home, cat gets free range, right? Because it's a cat. So here you go, cat, free range. Dog's on a place. That way, if the cat wants to go up and investigate the dog, they can. Now, again, don't be a jerk. Most cats won't. But my cat, if my dog's on place, now they're friendly, but my cat will come over and like smack my dog to play, and I'm like, get the heck out of here. So anyway, yeah, cat's not allowed to do that, but that way the cat can investigate and like run off, whereas the dog has to stay stationary. And then same rules would apply. So if the dog's not on place and it goes to chase the cat, no bonk, no leash pop, no compressed air, whatever. But you're not allowed to chase the cat. And again, advocate for both parties involved.
Right. So that's the big one, right? Because when I said that, I was like, I know exactly what you're going to say. Don't have the cat already and you plan on getting don't have the cat already and you plan on getting one. Hiccups. I've had them for a couple of years. I usually don't hiccup during the Q&A.
No, you don't.
Okay. Train your dog first. Set your dog and your future cat up for success. So like you said, place bare minimum. I'm going to go ahead and add one out, which is funny because I usually say place and you usually say out. Place and out. So if you're in a break, I can out you off of the cat and I can have you in a place. Should go without saying, but never leave them unattended, please. When they're new. Place and out. I thought I was going to say something else, but I forgot. So yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay. Are you ready for a question now?
Yeah, I've got 7 minutes to answer.
Yeah.
What you got?
Well, you didn't give me a lot of time, so.
You know what, Susan? I'm going to just end this now. No, I'm just kidding.
You're like, end live.
I have the power to end the live, okay?
Okay. Do you recommend having a dog lay down in the car?
So, this is actually one I'm really kind of bad at. So this is like my furniture. I'm pretty lenient on it, Dogs on furniture, that's up to you. Unless your dog's got like behavioral issues, then I'm going to tell you not to do that. So laying down in the car. It depends on the dog. So if your dog's like going crazy, then you need to lay down because I'm not trying to like crash and die, okay? But if they just want to like sit up and look out the window, I'm okay with that. Like before I got Gaia, she was training Auto down in the car. She had a really very strict year before I got her. I wanted to be fun guy. I was like, sure, you can stand up and look out the window. That's fine. But usually when I like hit a bump or like come to a stop, she's like, oh crap, and lays down. Because she knows that laying down, she's more sturdy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a dog who's scared in the car, who doesn't know how to like sturdy themselves, or they're like jumping over seats and trying to get into the front, yeah, you can have that dog lay down.
Or like if they get car sick.
Yeah. But I think if your dog is fairly well behaved in the car, isn't causing any problems, I don't really care either way. I don't know. What do you think?
So if your dog has issues in the car, yes, I'm going to do that. If your dog has issues probably at all, I'm going to do that. Now, all of my board and trains get taught the Auto down in the car just because I don't know you and I know that my program with the structure that I do works. So if your dog has an issue, whatever issue, and you're like, I want to do some intense training and you train it at home, blah, it wouldn't hurt to train them the Auto down in the car. And then once your dog is where you want them to be, so you're like, wow, my dog's not lunging at other dogs on the walk anymore. He's not counter surfing. He's not growling at my husband. After a couple weeks or a month of him not doing the bad things, now let's slowly give him some freedom. So if you're like, I don't care if he's up in the car, let him be
Mhm.
up in the car. But if you do that, now he starts growling at the husband again. Well, now you know his recipe for success. He needs to be down in the car. But like my dogs don't automatically lay down in the car. Sadie loves to look out the window, and she's cool about it. Like she just sits there and does it, or she sticks her head out the window. But also if they're just like standing there and they're like wobbling back and forth, I can say down and they lay down. So I like having the option either way.
I like that. I like that. Gaia, I was trying to think, what did I do with her? Because our trip started, our journey together started with a 9-hour drive home from Rhode Island. And that ride home, my car was full with all of my stuff because I was living in Rhode Island. So I had her on top of my like suitcases, her dog bed, so she didn't get to stand up then. And then I guess coming to your house, I didn't have so much stuff. So she laid down most of the ride. And I think that's when I started letting her get up because I'm like, this dog, we've been in the car for like 3 hours. Like if you want to sit up and look out the window, you can. But then I thought it was cute, so I just let her keep doing it because she loves looking out the window. But yeah, maybe if she keeps being sassy, she'll lose that privilege. No, we don't go out. Susan.
It's time.
Thank you for joining me for this week's Q&A Tuesday.
Susan. Of course. We're here almost every Tuesday.
Right. Oh, speaking of almost every, might as well mention this real quick. So we'll be here next Tuesday on the 30th, March 30th, unless Susan leaves me. But you shouldn't, right? Okay. The following Tuesday, April 6th, we will not have a Q&A Tuesday because Miss Gaia and I will be out getting our pictures taken. We have a photo shoot because there's this amazing pet photographer. So we're going to go get some pictures done with her, and we will not be here for Q&A Tuesday. So we got one more, and then we're going to miss a week. And
then we'll be only week of the year.
Yep. And it's going to be all my fault.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. We could do it really late. I mean, honestly, we could do it at 7.
Q&A, what would that be? Q&A 28 at 9 p.m.
Yeah. I'll be all dolled up for my photo shoot. I'll be looking good.
You always look good.
Thanks, friend. Okay, let's go. Let's not be too nice to each other. Thanks everybody for joining us. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Pack Leader Dog and Rachel Kohler Dog Training. We love doing these. Give them a like, give them a share, tell a friend. We do this every week except for on April 6th at 6 o'clock because we want to answer your dog training questions and we want to put out as much information as we can.
Yes. All right. Good night.
Bye.